Hello and welcome to another top 3 videos, guys. I want to thank everybody for sticking through with these videos and, of course, watching them in their entirety. About 72% of you are still not subscribed, so if you'd be so kind as to hit that subscribe button, like, and comment, I would really appreciate it. It's all I really ask for with these uploads. Now, I'm going to be showing you 3 games that I consider the absolute best for strategy games in the Pacific Theater, and the first one we're going to be taking a look at is Warplan Pacific. And why do I think this is number 1? This covers not just the U.S. Pacific campaigns and doesn't just allow you to play as the U.S. or, of course, the Japanese, but it also allows you to keep to not only historical experience levels, but historical planning. So it really allows you, let's say you've got a friend that says there's no way you can win the Battle of Midway as the Japanese. Well, maybe you can change their mind depending on how you play. Now, yes, there are a lot of options here, and if you're more of a naval guy, you're going to probably want to go for one of the Pacific fleet battles. But if you want, good old-fashioned infantry warfare, you might have a better time going for Okinawa in 1945, or even the invasion of Manchuria, aka modern-day China, in 1937. There's a lot of options here, even a Korean War option, although it's kind of a mod, so I wouldn't mess around with this. Now, I've decided to take a look at the invasion of Manchuria, the, of course, Sino-Japanese War, and I just absolutely love it. Now, if you guys take a look there, there's a great deal of information, including fuel, or the oil stockpile, as well as rail movement points, embarking points for, of course, naval invasions, as well as the fact that our guys are dug in. They've got different attack bonuses. They've even got different experience and rank levels. And we're basically reenacting the Marco Polo Bridge incident here. We're going to try to break through, but if you saw there, the enemy's dug in, and they're on a mountain there at Peking, so it's going to be tough to break through. Of course, you can approach this however you want, but you can certainly do concentric attacks in this game, as you can see right there. And you do get a post-battle report, which is extra cool, if I don't say so myself. But of course, you can approach things however you want. And like I said before, you don't have to stick to purely infantry battles. And you can also pick, campaigns that are not as long. This particular campaign takes quite a while to get through, and I'm glad it does. You're definitely getting your money's worth. For instance, if you want to play as the Japanese and, of course, go for the war in the Pacific right from the start, I mean, you've got a beautiful overview here of all of the islands, the different connections, and really you can take your time with these battles. As you can see here, we've got a massive U.S. fleet approaching. You can, of course, go ahead and try and grab a few ships. You can see the Japanese fleet over here. And a really cool feature, which I love on those destroyers, is they've got a bit of a sonar. So you can actually see enemies approaching. But for the naval strategy gamer, that one that wants to focus on naval, strategy during the Pacific War, the Pacific Theater, I should say, this one is a perfect game. Like I said, if you want the infantry approach, you've got it. If you want the naval approach, you've got it. And I just wanted to show you guys kind of what happens when you come into contact. Of course, bring over our submarines and try to get some strikes as well. But it's really detailed, and I think it'll appeal to most strategy gamers. All right, let's take a look at the next game, and let me know what you think of Warplan Pacific. There's a lot we didn't go over, by the way, just up here. I'll just slowly go over all of the different things you can look at, including the trade convoys, the weather, the battles you've already had, victory objectives. This game is chock full of information. Strategic Command World War II, War in the Pacific. Now, this is a newer iteration of an already existing game, but it's absolutely chock full of historical content, and unlike the previous one we looked at, which really focuses on the NATO counters, and by the way, you can play with NATO counters here as well. You don't have to do, the actual units, but I just have to say this is a lot prettier. And I think I'll show you guys why. We're actually just going to take a look at the Battle of Iwo Jima, but much like the previous game, if naval warfare is your thing, you can absolutely still do naval warfare in this game. However, as you can see, there's a bunch of other options up here, including getting rid of the fog of war, getting rid of weather, and again, like I said, if you want to do the NATO counters, you could still do them. But we're going to take a look at the land counters, just so you guys get a different visual here. Also, I have to say, not AI artwork. This is actual artwork, and it's absolutely beautiful. So, if you're an art lover like myself, that's another reason to get this game and to play it. So, as you can see, looks quite a bit different from the game we just took a look at, and it plays different too. Again, I would say it's both more fit to small unit scale battles, but has the ability to play an entire campaign as well. So you can kind of go for just one battle like I'm doing here, which I prefer to do, frankly. Or if you wish, you can go for an entire Pacific Theater campaign. That's something that most of the games in this genre that I'm showing off, most of them have that ability, and I think it's great. It really allows you to experience the Pacific War however you want to. Like I said, I'm not really a huge naval guy, even though this particular genre is probably extremely naval heavy in most people's eyes. So I always go for kind of the land-based battles for the most part. In Warclan, for instance, I like to play the invasion of Manchuria, just because it involves a whole lot of naval warfare, or excuse me, infantry warfare. Sorry, I'm focusing so much on the landing here, I'm not paying attention. So again, some differences you can see here in Strategic Command. There are historical messages that will pop up regularly, but in addition, it's not so much about cutting off supply as Warplan is. However, cutting off supply absolutely still helps. If we split the island in two, especially if we cut off airfield number 1, we're going to make it a lot tougher for the enemy. However, the enemy here at the 312th Battalion HQ point, to be honest, it doesn't matter. We can cut off everything. They're still going to be getting their supply. So there are some differences. Additionally, the use of HQs is similar in both, and both play quite well with that needing to have your headquarters commander as close as possible to those frontline troops. Told you I wasn't going to leave those of you that like naval stuff out of it, and in this particular one, we're doing Tora, and you can see, guys, this is the attack on Pearl Harbor, but I mentioned the historical aspect earlier, and as you can see, not only are you doing Pearl Harbor, but you've got to deal with the Thailand situation and bringing more people in the East Asian co-prosperity sphere. Additionally, we could potentially go to war with Manchuria in this same campaign. But I just wanted to show you guys the scale here. Absolutely massive. We've got Pearl Harbor right there. The scale is huge, and we've got all of these wonderful ships able to come in and assist with the attack. I believe we'll be taking out the California. It's going down, and as you can see, we get a national morale bonus. That's something in War in the Pacific that's very important. It's the overall national morale of your country, especially in a long campaign. Obviously, the more national morale, the more units you can purchase, the more your people believe in victory, and the less likely you are to lose, let's put it simply. And obviously, that side which gets the most national morale at the end of a campaign is going to be the victor. But as you can see, you've got everything here, quite similar to the previous game, and you've also got the good old-fashioned air war. Now, this one is an oldie but goodie, and let's be clear, it might even be the best looking of the three. I hate to say that because, you know, unfortunately, with the strategy games that I play, we don't get a lot of pretty games, and every now and again we'll get, you know, a comment like, this is kind of ugly, but honestly, like, this is as good as it's going to get. And Order of Battle World War II is actually its own game. This is a DLC which adds, actually there's several DLC which add several Japanese campaigns and several Allied campaigns. Now, what I like about this, there's always a pretty cool mission briefing. Kind of lets you know what you're going to be doing here. And as you can see, our air raid has caught the Americans by surprise. And the mission here is to cripple the American fleet. Over time, you actually unlock specializations, and the other cool thing is you've got a whole lot of secondary objectives here. You don't necessarily need to complete them, you know, it's completely up to you. But what can I say? I just really have grown fond of this game. It's been out for quite a while. In fact, I was at Slytherin when this game was being made, or even released. As you can see, you get everything like a combat prognosis. That, but just a little bit prettier, frankly. I mean, what else can I say? Now, this particular mission, it's a pretty trying to damage, of course, the Americans, but you can get some very, very deep content here, some massive battles, you know, all of the major ones, Iwo Jima, etc. Like I said, you can play from the Japanese perspective. This one can't be a lot of money on Steam, especially during game sales. I would say you can pick this one up for a pretty reasonable price. I even like that you get a little information panel for the terrain you're in, so that actually does matter quite a bit. And, you know, helps to, you know, kind of show you what the game's all about. I will say this game definitely supplies. That is to say, you know, if something crazy happens with supplies, you know, that you get cut off or Panzer General. Now, that's not to say it doesn't have a lot to offer. It's got some decent AI, it's got some fun scenarios, but I just don't want you guys to get your hopes up too much. Also, the attaching commanders thing is really cool. You can actually attach commanders to different planes, etc., and this allows you to, you know, sort of grow with these commanders over time, and I just think it's like a nice feature. Again, this is a pretty small mission, but for instance, if we exit to menu, let's take a look at another one of them. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys what it looks like. So you've got Morning Sun, you've got Rising Sun, you've also got the Burma Road campaign. Now, I have not gotten this one yet, but of course allows you to play as the British, really a British focus. And of course, you've got the U.S. Marine Corps campaign. Absolutely awesome, and this is the one that allows you to play the Battle of Guadalcanal. So again, just like the other ones, both in naval and land focus, I would say though that Order of Battle World War II, for me at least, it actually shines a lot more in the land focus, but that could just be me. Again, you know, even here we've got some naval units, you know, that are important, but these are landing units. So we're going to go ahead, get started here with the U.S. Marine Corps, and that's right, just like for instance, Panzer IV, you are going to be able to place these units before a battle, and we do have a supply shift. So I guess in that sense, there is a supply element. It's just not as simple as cut off supply and, you know, XYZ happens. Drop a few more supply ships. There we go. And I have to say, you know, even though it's an old one, it's a fun one. Again, if anybody has any other game recommendations, I'd love to hear them, especially with this genre. I have to say, for me, it was hard to find games in this genre that I had played. But I would definitely say the first two, really something to take a look at. Thanks again, guys, for stopping by the channel. I do appreciate it, and I hope you learned something. Catch you on the next one.